We welcome this team here because it is a constitutional body. It is an independent body established under the Constitution of Kenya and under a statute, an act of parliament. And therefore, its work is well set out, and we are duty bound as a creature created by the law to perform certain functions, undertake certain activities. We are bound by the law to work with you. And as you said at the beginning, I think is one of the speakers at the beginning who said that the exercise that is being carried out is a partnership in which the county government, which includes the assembly and the executive and the EACC, are going to work together on the question of risks. And this is a very, very important exercise. I also would want to guarantee you, just like the speaker has, that you'll be free to get any information, any document from the county executive, talk to any person, any state officer or public officer in regard to the activity that you're undertaking, the better part of this month. And the emphasis is, because our Constitution sets very high principles of governance, good governance, transparency and accountability. And when you go to the chapter dealing with public finance, it requires that there should be prudent use of public finance. These very high constitutional principles require that when you are undertaking a public activity that involves public resources, we should undertake those processes having in focus the constitutional principles that I've talked about. Earlier on, when we were talking to the delegation from the Commission in the office, I mentioned that the citizens of Kenya found it necessary to create independent offices and commissions so that they have an insurance policy. Instead of just relying on the two traditional arms of government, the county, or three arms of government, the county assembly or parliaments, which includes the national parliament, the Senate, and the National Assembly. And at the level of counties, we have the county assembly. Those are the first arm of government, being parliaments at the national level and at the county level. Then you have the executive and the judiciary. Under our constitutional dispensation, we have independent offices and commissions. And these commissions have powers donated to them by the Constitution and the law. Therefore, I want to assure you that I value prevention. As Cecilia said earlier on, prevention is better than cure. And I hope at the end of the exercise, when you make your report, you are going to identify loopholes, if any. You are going to identify opportunistic practices that make it possible for breach of matters integrity and good governance. I also want to mention that we had a task force that carried out an activity under Mr. Edward Ouko. They have released that report, and I think it will be good for your team also to look at that report to find out if there's something useful in it. but we are hoping to have a session next week involving members of the civil society and the public at large to discuss that report. And maybe what comes out of that conversation may end up with the team that you're going to leave here. So the question of prevention is very important and very fundamental.
I take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Governor and the entire leadership of the County Government of Siaya for inviting EACC to carry out corruption risk assessment into systems, policies, procedures, and practices of your county. Indeed, this is an indication of the leadership of the County Government of Siaya desires and aspires for effective mechanisms of enhancing good governance and accountability. Rightly, as state and public officers, we are expected to be persons who uphold national values and principles of governance, as envisioned in Article 10 and Article 252 of the Constitution, which we know our governor has spearheaded for many years. It is upon this backdrop of corruption prevention that the Commission, in partnership with Siaya County, is undertaking the corruption risk assessment exercise. After the corruption risk assessment exercise, the recommendations will be made with a view of enhancing service delivery and seal any identified loopholes identified in the course of the examination. As we have said, we are not coming to investigate, we are just coming to partner in the preventive arm. Allow me to mention that the assessments have been a continuous engagement with the county governments, and in the past we have done in 24 counties. We are proud to report that in 2021, the Senate acknowledged that counties which are implementing recommendations from previous assessments by EACC, that they are setting strong work systems. Through the CRAs, we have noted weaknesses, we have noted loopholes, and we have noted opportunities for improvement. And when this is identified, we find that we are able to identify areas of unethical practices which leads to pillage, theft, wastage of public resources, and also denying our public the much desired services. In undertaking the CRA, which we are launching today, this team will flag out quick wins for immediate implementation, guided by the following terms of reference. Number one, we'll study the existing work systems, the policies, the guidelines, the procedures, practices, and methods of work which we are applying at the county assembly and also at the county executive. We'll also analyze the degree of adherence to policies, guidelines, and procedures. We'll ascertain the effectiveness of the systems in order to enhance integrity in operations for the county, executive, and assembly. We'll also identify and profile areas of weaknesses, loopholes, and prepare a report of the findings, which will make appropriate recommendations for necessary action. I therefore request for full cooperation and provision of documents throughout this exercise. The documentation and information gathered in the course of this exercise will be handled with utmost confidentiality. The officers we have identified to undertake this exercise have been fully briefed, and I'm very confident of their competence, their professionalism, and capability to undertake this assignment successfully.
They'll do the launch, they'll speak last before prayer, so closing prayer. So, to Commissioner Cecilia, Secretary, the Governor, and everybody who's here. My name is George Okode. I'm the Speaker of Siaya County Assembly. This exercise is for both the County Assembly and the County Executive. However, we've been gathered. Don't Caesar's wife. It should be on reproach. She is also here. I want her to be known like that. Then we have members of the County Assembly. We have John Apodo. John Apodo is a member representing Sizindi Ward. He is the Vice Chair, Trade. Is it Land? Okay, thank you. Then we have Shalom. As the leadership of the County Assembly, we commit to embrace this exercise and instruct. Is a member representing South Uyoma, Michael Adiala, not Silas Madingu, Michael Adiala. You are the Vice Chair, Trade. Thank you. Any other member of the Assembly have not introduced?